Every single day, companies are fighting a war that most of us never even see. It's not happening on some distant battlefield, but right inside their computer networks, in the ones and zeros. They're in a constant battle, defending their digital fortresses from attack. So let's dive into this two-front war and see what it really takes to win. All right, so let me just start by asking you a question. What do you think is a company's most valuable asset? I mean, is it their buildings, the cash they have in the bank, all the products in their warehouses? Just think about it for a second. If you guessed information, you are absolutely right. It's their data. And when the systems that protect that data go down, the costs are just staggering. And we're not just talking about money, though that's a huge part of it. A system outage can crush a company's reputation, grind operations to a total halt. It can even get them into legal hot water. The stakes? Well, they couldn't be higher. There's a formal name for this, and it's intellectual capital. This is literally everything that makes a company tick. We're talking customer lists, secret formulas, financial records, you name it. It is without a doubt the absolute lifeblood of any modern company, and keeping it safe is priority number one. So here's our battle plan for this explainer. First, we're going to talk about the threats at the gate. Then we'll get into the two main lines of defense, what I'm calling the human firewall and the technology shield. And finally, we'll see how it all has to come together to create a unified defense. All right, let's get into it. To defend any fortress, you have to know who's trying to break in, right? So let's take a look at the adversaries, both the ones outside the walls and sometimes the ones already inside. First up, we've got the most famous bad guy in the digital world, the hacker. Now, at its core, this is just someone with a lot of tech knowledge who uses it to get into computer systems where they're not supposed to be. And why do they do it? Well, it could be for money. Or honestly, sometimes it's just for the challenge. But here's the thing, hacker isn't a one-size-fits-all term. It covers a huge range of people. You've got your black hat hackers who are straight-up criminals. You've got hacktivists who are politically motivated. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have white hat hackers. These are actually the good guys that companies hire to find security holes before the bad guys do. Now, the other big threat isn't a person at all. It's a program. We're talking about a virus. And a virus is really just a piece of software that was written with one goal in mind, to cause harm. Whether that's to annoy you, damage your computer, or steal your information. And just like hackers, malicious software comes in all shapes and sizes. You've got Trojan horses that trick you into installing them. You've got worms that can spread themselves across an entire network all on their own. And then you have things like denial of service attacks, which can completely knock a website offline just by overwhelming it with junk traffic. So with all these sophisticated technical threats out there, you'd probably think the best defense is just more technology, right? Well, let's move on, because the first and maybe most important line of defense might actually surprise you. And this, right here, is the key. The single biggest issue in information security isn't a technical one. It's a people issue. The weakest point in almost any security system isn't a piece of code. It's the person using the computer. At the end of the day, real security comes down to human behavior. So how in the world do you fortify your people? You do it by creating clear, easy-to-understand rules of engagement. They're called e-policies, and they are the foundation of a strong human firewall. They teach everyone in the organization how to handle data safely and use technology ethically. A really solid set of e-policies is going to cover these 7 key areas, everything from general computer ethics and privacy, all the way to specific rules for email, social media, and even workplace monitoring. Let's just touch on a couple of really important ones. First up is the Acceptable Use Policy, or AUP. This is basically the terms and conditions you have to agree to before you can get on the company network. It lays out the ground rules like you can't use our computers to break the law, you can't try to hack our systems, and you have to be accountable for what you do online. It's all about personal responsibility. Okay, now here's one that catches a lot of people by surprise, the Email Privacy Policy. This policy makes one thing crystal clear. Your work email is not private. Because the company owns the email system, they have the right to look at employee emails to make sure company secrets aren't being leaked out. Okay, so once that human firewall is built through good training and clear policies, then it's time to bring in the heavy artillery. So let's talk about our second line of defense, the technology shield. Now, technology really helps us out in 3 key areas. First, it helps manage people with something called authentication and authorization. Second, it protects the data itself through prevention and resistance. And third, it helps us deal with active attacks through detection and response. Let's quickly clear up two terms that people mix up all the time: authentication and authorization. Think of it this way. Authentication is proving you are who you say you are. That's like showing your driver's license to a security guard. Authorization is what you're allowed to do once you're inside. That's like having a key card that only opens certain doors. You absolutely need both. And if you're wondering why all this technology is so critical, just look at this number. When these systems fail, the cost of downtime is it's astronomical. For some big companies, we're talking about as much as $1 million for every single hour they're offline. So, how does tech protect the data itself? Well, one of the most powerful tools in the toolbox is encryption. This is basically the science of scrambling information into a secret code. That way, even if a hacker manages to steal the file, it's just a bunch of unreadable nonsense without the special key to unlock it. A really cool and elegant way this works is called public key encryption. Here's the idea. A company can give out a public key to anyone and everyone. Customers use that key to lock up their sensitive data. But once it's locked, the only thing that can unlock it is the company's matching private key, which they keep totally secret. It's an incredibly clever and secure system. And last but not least, we have the firewall. The easiest way to think about a firewall is like a security guard standing at the only door to your company's network. It inspects everything and everyone trying to get in or out, and if anything looks suspicious, it's blocked. Simple as that. But at the end of the day, neither of these defenses can do the job alone. You can have the best technology in the world, but if an employee clicks on a bad link, you're in trouble. True, lasting security only comes from a unified strategy, where smart, well-trained people and powerful technology work hand in hand to guard that digital fortress. And that really brings us to one final big question to think about. In a world where threats are getting smarter, where AI can write the perfect phishing email or create a fake video of your boss, does that make our human firewall, our own judgment and awareness, more important than ever before? Or does it make it our most dangerous weak link? Definitely something to chew on.